All right.
I'm Dr. Elly Porisev.
And I'm Dr. Crystal Wiggins.
And today we have a special guest.
I'm Dr. Casey Layfield.
Woohoo! Fancy seeing you here.
Bravo, bravo. Who is Casey to you guys, to Dr. Elly and Dr.
For me,
Wiggins?
Thebomb.com.
Oh yeah, nobody's better than Casey. We love Dr. Layfield.
Yes.
And my relationship with you started, I want to say, when you were a rep with a different company, they who shall not be named. And so your experience, I am curious actually, your experience. You were a rep for one company, now you're a rep for Widex, which we love. We absolutely adore Widex. Were you ever not a rep?
Yeah, I was a practicing audiologist for 6 years before I jumped over to the manufacturer side.
What kind of setting?
So I started my career, I did my CFY, which is the old school 4th year.
Does that mean you had a
'cause I'm
master's
old.
first? Mm-hmm. You're only like a year older than me.
No,
but okay.
I'm a few years older than you. I think so.
Go ahead with your CFY.
So I was an audiologist for six years. I finished my master's and then did my CFY in New York City for a major nonprofit organization, actually one of the oldest in the nation, called the League for the Hard of Hearing. It was an amazing experience as a baby audiologist to learn from some of the best in New York. And so I had just an incredible experience there, and then left there after working for 3 years and went to an ENT.
Where was the
which is
ENT?
Very different, on Madison Avenue.
Oh, wow. So you were in New York for a while. Packing up your stuff. Yeah. I remember you telling me this. Okay.
So I worked for 3 years there. Had a great mentor there, and then decided I really wanted to be on the manufacturing side. So I got a job working for that other manufacturer. And covered a territory in New York and New Jersey for about 4 years. And then when I met my wife, Monica, at the time we were doing long distance, so I ended up moving across the country.
You said you threw your bags in a suitcase and...
No, I said we were two difficult lesbians. We packed up the U-Haul and I moved right down and moved into her apartment.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Cheers to that.
That's how that happened. Cheers.
Cheers to quick moves. To quick moves.
Cheers. Exactly.
So that's why you came, because of Monica to Texas.
Yeah. That's how I ended up in Austin.
Because she has her
I never knew that.
Yep.
life.
Yes, she's a lawyer.
You can move. It's hard for her to move.
Yeah, exactly. She had already established her practice and everything. So
ain't nobody want to take that bar twice.
No, nobody want to take that bar twice. Exactly. So I continued to work for that other company for about 4 more years here in Texas, and then
Oh my God, how old are you? Oh my God, you look like a baby, right? And she's like 4 years, 6 years, 6 years, 4 years.
Thanks. And then when the opportunity opened up to work for Widex, I jumped at the chance. So
Actually, you're the reason I work with Widex.
really,
Yeah, well, you and 2
hope so.
patients. I have my little story there.
Okay, what happened there?
Okay, so another company that we worked with, we loved at the time. It was one of the made for iPhone companies, since you can stream phone calls and everything. And that was one of the main ones at the time. And then you guys came out with yours. But I was like, I'm not about to add a 5th manufacturer to this lineup. Now I work with 6. But anywho, hoorah. Dr. Wiggins' favorite things to say.
You got to pay her $100 every time you use that term.
I love it.
Any hoorah.
Any ha. Yes, I don't know. I have my versions
All right,
of it.
I'm in.
So I did 2 fittings on 2 different patients within a 2-week period, and one was a musical sound engineer. Nightmare.
Okay.
No offense to musical sound engineers, but
No offense,
musician.
y'all are difficult.
With all due respect,
All due
engineer
respect.
and musician combined.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Yeah,
Okay,
and
so
then the
tough.
other one was
That's
a
6
musician.
years right there.
Yeah, they were like,
Yes. Yeah.
frequency this and hertz that,
Yeah.
the beep boop boop boop, and I was like, okay, I got it. You know what you're talking about.
They literally had 4 years.
They were so like in tune with what they were hearing and what they weren't getting, especially with streaming music through their hearing aid, through the iPhone and everything. And it was like they were in my office like every other day complaining, and I was like, uh-oh. And then of course you got with Widex. You kind of were like telling me, little things, and I was like,
Dropping little hints.
yeah.
Yeah.
And then of course I started asking around, and everybody was like, yeah, Widex for musicians, Widex for musicians, and I was like, okay, okay, I guess it's time. So that's when I got the training, and I put both of them. I said, hang on tight. I'll extend your trial period. I got to get trained on this. I got to know what I'm talking about, and then we'll swap you out. We'll exchange. And I literally hardly have seen them since.
Really?
Both incredibly happy. For me to see those two people so happy, so like flipped, I was a believer after that. Like,
I
no
love that
lie.
story. I love it.
It's 100% true.
Yeah.
That's how come I was like, okay, maybe this is
There's
pretty
something to
good.
this.
Yeah.
How do you know Dr. Layfield?
Oh, I don't. Where did we meet?
Well, I think you were at
Lord help us.
your previous
One of those jobs.
One of those other jobs.
That job who shall not be named as well.
at the hospital.
But I knew you before then.
So I think we met there because that's how I came to Houston. Was as
Not 2017.
no.
See, I was with the private practice before that. Dr. Wiggins has had a series of employment opportunities.
I don't remember which private practice.
This being the
This being the
one
very
and
best.
forever and ever and ever.
Yes,
Amen.
my forever home.
We must have met before that because I went to Texas as a rep in 2012. So I've been here.
So, well, we met before
so
then.
We must have worked there. I just can't remember where you were.
I was at the pediatric place. And that time. So we met a long time ago.
Yeah. We have met
And
each other. Yes.
it's been wonderful. So Dr. Elly is the reason why I took a chance.
Because you weren't used to. Because the problem with some of these
used it in the
offices
past.
is like they just work with one brand, or
Yeah.
maybe two if you're lucky.
Yes.
And I'm definitely like, as much as I love Widex, I'm always open-minded to, if this particular patient, let's say they're deaf on one side, actually Widex has a great cross option as well, because I've actually had one patient that demoed yours versus the competitor, and they preferred yours. But I do a lot more of the
Doesn't surprise
competitor,
me.
I will say, for example, for that particular reason, or depending on what the circumstances are, right? Or if somebody's just already been brainwashed and they come in asking for something, then you give it to them. But because you didn't have the experience, I remember when she started working, I was like, heads up.
We do a lot of Widex.
We do a lot of Widex because it's so, I love it. You're going to love it too. Watch.
Yeah.
And she goes, okay, we'll see. And then I think a couple of weeks in, she was like,
Oh, I love it.
I love Widex.
Yes, I love it.
I love it. I love it. You're a believer now.
She was.
You know, when I worked for the other manufacturer back up in New York, I always found that Widex was the hardest to sell against. So when I went into an office that sold a lot of Widex, I was always like, oh, this is going to be really hard because
they were so
it's
happy.
very hard to argue with the sound
quality.
quality. And so, you have lots of bells and whistles and widgets and all those
Let's
extra
not
things,
forget the
but
biggest thing about
fundamental.
Widex, besides the
Are you
home
gonna say the
musician
app?
thing. There's so many positive things, but the number one thing is tinnitus.
Oh,
And dealing with y'all are just known in the industry, if you will, in our profession, of having the best all the capabilities to deal with patients with ringing in their ears and other, umbrella term tinnitus. Some people say tinnitus, right?
If you're in Texas, it's tinnitus.
If you're an older Texan, it's tendinitis. I'm like, one guy said,
Y'all carry the Windex?
yeah, they want the Windex
For my
hearing aids for their
tendinitis.
tendinitis. But it's funny because one guy, I usually don't correct them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'll correct them. But this one guy, he was like, he made it tendinitis. It was like 6 syllables long. And I go, I'm sorry, I'm just going to have to correct you.
You gotta draw the line somewhere,
Yeah, I was like,
yeah.
it's tinnitus, tomato, but it's not tendinitis. It was so funny. He was like, oh, okay,
That's
thank
amazing.
you. But
So it's one of the things Widex is known for is our Zen Technology. This was developed years ago. I don't exactly
Long
remember
time
the year.
ago.
Before I was at Widex, we had Zen, and it's a unique way of helping patients with tinnitus using fractal tones. So
Or Fraggles.
Fraggle Fraggle
Like Fraggle Rock.
Yeah.
we're definitely all old enough for that.
Dating myself.
The fractal tones are sort of musical chime kind of tones.
Yeah, because all the other manufacturers have just kind of more like white
Just
noise.
Just noise, exactly.
Yeah.
Which is oftentimes designed to mask the tinnitus. And what we try to do with the Zen tones is encourage habituation. So you know the tinnitus is there, but you're really not focused on it. It's not affecting your life in such a negative way, that fight or flight response that many tinnitus patients have.
Yeah.
So using those fractal tones, also, because they're more musical, music stimulates more areas of the brain than any other stimulus, and so having the brain, firing up on all cylinders is really important.
I actually never thought about that like that.
Yeah.
That's why, like cognition, like there's some people doing like more cognitive
therapy
therapies with music.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely.
for you to put it like that, it just kind of had a mini aha moment.
With the Cognivue, right?
Yeah.
Is that the whole? I was just actually in an office in Austin.
Yeah, Dr. Davis.
Yeah, Dr. Davis. I met with her last week.
I'm kind of curious as to how she's doing her program, and because she's doing like music. Dr. Jill Davis in Austin.
She's doing a lot of music therapy because musicians are, I guess. The data shows that they hear better in noise because those areas of their brain are more active.
And also patients with like possible cognitive issues, you know?
Very interesting.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Super interesting.
Very, very interesting. So we're starting the cognitive screening, and we're referring to neurology as needed, and we're going to retest in 3 months after they've been aided with hearing aids. But to take it to the extreme of like musical therapy, not yet. But I think to think about it in the Zen is kind of interesting.
It is very interesting.
Like if they have Widex hearing aids, we can help them with cognitive.
That is it. Hey, that's awesome.
Thank you, Casey.
Thank you, because I'm throwing that in tomorrow. I'm using it tomorrow.
No, actually, we just were in an office earlier today, and the patient loves her Zen program, and so she's getting new hearing aids, and she had to have her Zen program. So
we have more and more patients that want it as their primary. Like I used to be one of those that just like, let me add it as a, you can access it on your app if you want it. Yeah. But now people are like, I want it and I want it all the time. I don't want to have to get into it manually. Can you just leave it on? Yeah.
That's awesome.
I'm not used to having that so much. It's interesting.
And I hate to interrupt, but for the layman in the world, which is like 99% of the population.
Thank
you. So the tinnitus is the ringing in your ears that we discussed previously. That's usually as a result of hearing loss.
Well, it's the presence of a sound in your ear or head.
So it's an umbrella term.
In the absence of an external stimulus. So like there's nothing
that we can prove.
That you can hear that's actually causing the patient to hear that sound.
Remind me never to play you in Scrabble. You just blew my mind with the vocabulary that just came out of your mouth.
I mean, I think that's the definition.
Stimulus.
External stimulus. So like there's nothing in the environment that's like making that noise. So like if a tree falls in the woods, does it make a sound if nobody's there to hear it? I don't know.
And then so, Elly, am I right or wrong? I've heard one of you guys say that you can have tinnitus without hearing loss, but not hearing loss without tinnitus.
No, both.
Right. Okay.
Both. But it's both like you can have tinnitus without having hearing loss, you can have hearing loss without having tinnitus. One doesn't always equate to the other, although a lot of people who have hearing loss generally have some form of tinnitus. And tinnitus can be buzzing, it could be, the most common one is ringing. A lot of people say high-pitched ringing in their ear. It can sound like cicadas, like crickets. It can sound like bacon sizzling.
Yes.
What are some of the pulsating? Pulsating, if you have pulsating tinnitus, that could be possibly not
run and get
not
some
a good
help.
idea. You should always see a physician just in case there's anything else going on. Make sure your blood pressure is in check. Make sure there's nothing else. Like let's just have a scan of your head. Make sure there's nothing else going on, and then come see us.
So everybody's mom lied when you were a kid, and that ringing in your ear meant somebody was talking about you. That's actually directly related to hearing loss.
They say, right? Is that what it is?
I think.
Yeah. Somebody was talking bad about you.
My mom told me that too.
But Mom, thanks.
Mom. No wonder I'm paranoid.
I was
just kidding.
And then so we had discussed in the past about potential solutions or remedies from tinnitus. And so just to recap on what I just heard from you guys to make sure that I heard you correctly, most folks, they'll try to beat it out with white noise, and to where you'll actually counteract the tinnitus, the ringing in your ears, which is irreversible. Once the hearing loss is gone and the tinnitus sets in, comes and goes, and it's irreversible. But what you're saying is Widex actually puts noise or sound to help cover, to help alleviate the tinnitus in your ears.
Irreversible is
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would say it's irreversible.
Yeah.
And I think for a lot of people, tinnitus comes and goes. I think most Americans experience tinnitus at some
millions.
Yeah, at some time or another. I have, but it kind of comes and goes. For patients with debilitating tinnitus, where you would seek treatment, that's something that's obviously more severe, more intense, and so that's where providing them with either some sort of masking technology or something like Zen would come into play. So there's different approaches to managing tinnitus. Masking is certainly one successful approach, and then one other successful approach is to use something like Zen, which encourages habituation and just kind of helps patients live with it and not...
And some therapy. It's like an extensive interview process that
Oh yeah.
Dr. Wiggins says in this office.
I like
Really?
having the options
Yeah.
with Zen because you have so many different options.
I let my patients listen to like. There's different colors, you know,
Okay,
the greens
yeah.
and the
Yeah.
blues and the coral and stuff like
lavender.
Like, it's so interesting to see their reaction. Oh no, not that
Yes,
one,
yes.
not that one. I'm
Yeah,
like,
they love it.
They all
They
sound
that
like
one.
bing, bing, bing to me.
Yeah.
But okay,
Yeah.
that's so good. I love it when they get
It
like
strikes a chord. It
Yes.
strikes, and what you want to you're looking for the Zen profile that just makes you feel the most calm and
Yes.
the most Zen.
And
the most Zen.
that's a very important part of habituation is to calm the system
Yeah.
so that they're able to
Exactly.
get into the habituation phase of just forgetting that they have their tinnitus.
Yes,
so it's a
exactly.
huge part in that, you know, the limbic system that plays a part in the tinnitus. Yeah.
Exactly.
So I love Zen. It's great.
that's awesome.
What's your favorite Zen?
I think I gotta go with Aqua. I mean, I gotta go with Aqua. Yeah, it's.
I can't. I'm like,
They're ding 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 to you.
they all sound
They all Aqua
But you
sounds
do
the most like I'm in a spa getting a massage, and that's where I want to be there.
Aqua's one of my favorite colors, but
Yeah.
What's your favorite Zen? Lavender.
lavender. Let's go with that one. No, you always tell me to put an aqua. You know, let it play the aqua for
Yeah,
them. You always say
yeah.
play the aqua.
No,
for
I'm
me.
just saying for
That's the
myself.
most
I don't
common,
know.
the most.
It seems like patients
popular
seem to like it. Yeah, I always pick two Zens that have color and one noise-based speech.
Okay.
What's that called? Whoops,
one with
telephone.
noise, like one
Yeah.
with the noise shaped or the.
Yeah.
Okay.
It'll. Okay, so we're gonna ignore the phone ringing for a second. And then whenever we're you're putting that up.
Yeah,
That's
the
great.
aqua is great.
Okay, let's let the phone stop ringing so that we can be like ooh and ahhing over that.
Okay.
Yeah, because this is new to me, right? So I'm trying to experience this as well.
Okay, so this is the calming,
Sounds calming. Sounds like
Aqua Zen.
I'm ready for my massage now.
But
have a hot
obviously,
towel,
the head is not being bombarded with these sounds where it's
Yeah.
just lightly playing in the background so that their brain, so they can just not pay attention to ringing as much. Would you mind putting that other list up? It was a great list you had going. Thank you. Oh, wow.
Oh,
Look at that. So efficient, huh?
I'm impressed.
I like it, yes. Let's see, what else?
I would have made a good secretary, just so you know. I completely missed my calling in life.
So many talents.
So organized.
Good at
I'm
coffee,
really
too.
impressed.
Oh yeah.
So-
look at that.
Let's talk about being a female doctor and,
Oh, yeah.
and the demographic as well. Okay.
And I
So
will not
let's segue
mention.
into that somehow, though.
I won't say anything about Jerger
Oh,
and what he said.
I just learned what he said. I didn't.
Okay,
know.
wait.
It was in
what
audiology
happened?
today.
Okay, I missed it.
Missed
What did
it?
Jerger say?
Women are ruining the profession because there's
When a
too
guy's
many.
name is Jerker and he makes a comment like that, is it actually a surprise? His mom nailed
His
it.
name's
He
Jim.
said, Jerger said that women are ruining audiology.
Did he actually use those words? That's how. Are you? Are,
It's not. It's
this
written. I'll find
paraphrasing?
it.
Written
It's
out.
written. It's in like audiology today.
why would he-
It's like 2015 though.
I mean, is
But
it,
he's
what, 150
nothing
years
against. He's yeah. That's what I was gonna say. An old fart, but you know, hey,
He worked at UT Dallas, right?
and yeah,
Yeah.
and in the med center.
Yeah, I think he
it's
was here,
Jerger
too.
City down there. Yeah.
I was a part of the Martin world, not the Jerger world. So.
yeah.
Dr. Martin.
Oh,
Frederick Martin.
yes.
He wrote the book on audiology.
Yeah.
Hello.
Hello.
Okay, fine. You're a Jerger
right.
person, obviously.
Yeah.
The
And I
Jerger
was a
method.
Jergerite too until he said that mess about women in the
So what
profession.
about- okay, so there is
because we don't
obviously a lot of-
demand more salaries because we don't demand more salary, more in salary. We tend to take less because there's usually a partner.
So there
that's
was. I remember we
making
had
more money.
this
yeah.
actual
Yeah.
discussion in school. When did the flip happen from audiology being such a male whatever
Dominated
Thank
profession?
you
Yeah.
profession to now very female. It's kind of getting more with male.
Yeah, they're
now
coming
when you
back-
go to a
circling back
convention, you
around.
actually see a few guys
Yeah.
that are not just the husbands to the audiologists. So it's like, But in my class, there was only one guy, and he was like, we
were
called him
all
the
women.
golden child.
We were all women.
Yeah.
In mine
We were all
class.
women in mine too.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when it happened. I'm
Before.
guessing like sometime in the 90s ish.
It's got to be related to grabbing people from speech. That's what I think.
Well, you think
that's how I
speech
came
pathology
over.
and audiology?
see?
Yeah.
Like people find out about
Yeah.
audiology through their speech classes,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
then
for sure.
there's usually more women in those classes.
So why
and
is
then-
speech more
you know.
female dominated too?
I don't know.
I think it's because of the
That's a really good
kiddos.
question.
Just
It's because of the kiddos.
just opinion from my side of the industry, and I'm completely far removed from you guys, y'all are very detail oriented, which y'all have to be. Like the minute details that y'all touch are something that I would never be able to scrape or maintain consistently. But women are typically more detail oriented than men, just the way it is, right?
So you think we do a better job than men in audiology? Is that
Because audiology is pretty
the
technical, which is kind of
extremely in-depth.
but it's also like
extremely in-depth.
to me that also means a little bit guyish. You know what I mean?
know.
There's graphs involved. It's
Now he's like, no,
Too much
speech
detail. Too much
pathology.
detail. It's
Speech
intimidating.
Yeah.
details today.
I would have failed audiology. I'd have bombed it.
It's also a
No.
very
Yeah, 100%.
care
I'd have
centered.
bombed it.
Yeah.
Maybe that's also I don't know why more women gravitate towards the profession. I'm not sure.
But like, yeah, maybe it is
Same
just
thing for
maybe
speech,
some.
yeah.
Which came first? It becoming more female oriented, and then the pay coming down because of that,
Ooh.
or so then let's say men don't want to.
Good
Because if
question.
you Google the salary of an audiologist, it's not. I don't think it's that accurate. Yeah, don't. It's not accurate.
Yeah.
Why? What does it say?
It'll say
Go
like
to audiology.org.
65, for example, but it's not taking into consideration other things.
Right.
Yeah,
And then
it discussed.
yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
And go to audiology.org to give you a better synopsis of everything.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but maybe let's
they don't
say
include us
a
like
guy
that.
wants to. I mean, just the other day we had Dr. Oliveira on, and
Yes.
her
Oliveira.
cohort. Yes, I have to say it properly. Properly.
Say it again.
Oliveira. instead of
Yeah.
Oliveira. She's like, it's Veira. I was like, Veira. So she has a male doctor working for her, and he's he went to school for 8 years after high school, and
Yeah.
he wants to change his profession. It's like he
Yeah.
we got you. No, we lost you.
Yeah.
You know.
He wants to change out of audiology.
Yeah.
Yes,
Oh, that's too bad.
completely.
Yeah. But anyway.
Well, we have a guy
possibly, I don't know.
on our team.
Yeah.
My trainer, one of the trainers for Widex, is a guy, a young audiologist. So I don't
I
know.
think there's more men coming, but I don't know.
I
what
think
it
so,
is. But what it
too.
is, what like
They're coming.
But to Ellie, a lot of the reason that led you to audiology was you're kind of squeamish with blood.
that is absolutely right. Yeah, maybe that's another thing. Oh, absolutely.
But is that a male female thing though?
I think this is who you
I didn't think you were screaming.
Oh, I can't even watch them when they.
I can't
Really?
watch. I
I go like
can't
this.
watch my own blood come out, but I can watch other people's blood come out.
You can take
know
all
what I
that
mean?
wax out of people's
Oh, sorry.
ears every day.
Wax
and that does
all
not
day,
gross you
every
out.
day.
Sorry.
When it
Okay.
comes to blood.
Yeah.
All day or a day.
Yes,
Like,
right.
Like I get these weird, like tingly, like oh no, this is bad.
So what happens if you see blood? Like I want to know
In the
more. Like
canal.
what happens? In
No,
you see blood in the
it
canal.
doesn't bother me that much. It's just I
See?
can't imagine, for example, being an MD
Okay.
and having to do all the rotations that involve all that blood.
I'm
Like, do
bad
you
with
get
the-
nauseous or do you
I
get
just
weak?
don't want to look
or
at
what
it.
happens?
Tell your cadaver story.
my.
Yeah.
Tell
I was
it.
Yeah, I was like,
I'm here for it,
I was
honey.
I was one of the only 2 people in my school that got to like watch surgeries and like I wore scrubs in high school my senior year. They called me doc, and I was going to do that MD route and everything. And I remember that me and this one other kid, and I remember we walked into, I think it was like Baylor College of Medicine, and it was a bunch of cadavers, and I remember he was just, even just that, the smell of
it?
formaldehyde.
Right, yeah.
I remember him just touching them, and I was just like, oh my God, get me out of here. Like, get me out of here.
Really?
Yeah, I wanted out.
Like panic, yeah.
I just wanted out. I was like,
Yes.
this is not for me.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, what's next? Physical therapy. And then that became
Okay.
way too many, like,
Yeah.
kinesiology classes. And then I was like, okay, what about optometry? And that became way too many physics classes.
Yeah.
And so I was like, dang, what's left?
Yeah.
What
I'm
body
glad
parts?
you-
I didn't even think ears,
glad
which
you
is
body
sad
parts
because I
are
was part of
left.
Delta Zeta, which are the philanthropy for that very short period of my time, which is a, what do you call it? Sorority whose charity, because every sorority has charity,
Yeah.
was the Gallaudet and
Oh,
hearing.
really?
Yes, I learned a little bit about it, but it was because of Selena, Dr. Oliveira, that got me into audiology.
Okay.
So
that's
glad.
okay.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. What about you?
So I started out in speech therapy, like a lot of, I think a lot of our profession, and I had.
She's like, no way.
No, not even for 1 second would I ever.
I mean, I took a few undergrad classes, and then, like most of the audiologists in Louisiana, we became audiologists.
Oh, yeah, because you went to LSU, right?
Yes, I went to LSU, and we became audiologists because we
Go
had
Tigers.
Yeah,
one amazing
go.
professor in particular by the name of Wendy Jumonville. And if you ask any audiologist in Louisiana, they know who Wendy Jumonville is. And so she was just the best teacher. And she got everybody excited about audiology. And a lot of people, I mean, I've heard many, many audiologists say, I became an audiologist because of her, because of Wendy. So yeah, I applied for grad school and got into LSU, where I had done my undergrad, and then we had a small class and loved it. But
How many?
I think we were 8.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's large now.
Yeah, I know.
Well,
But Wendy was the best, and
Awesome.
yeah, she was the best. So she's responsible for a lot of the.
That's how I feel about
Wendy.
That's how I feel about Joan Balish at UT.
Oh yeah.
And she was one of the
Yeah.
not like the main, she was the least, like if you will, given the credit, she did the most.
But she did the most.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard great things about
Yeah,
her.
she's amazing.
Is she still there?
great
I think
impact.
so.
That was,
So.
yeah.
If she's still there, if she retired, or anyway.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that's how I came to audiology, and then moved to New York City, and then came to Texas. So
Hey.
yeah, never look back.
Louisiana, New York City, and
Yeah,
Austin.
Austin.
Yeah.
Those are some good places to live.
I know. That's
Great.
great. I love
Pretty
Austin.
good,
I know.
pretty fun places.
Exactly.
Austin, aka mini California.
Yeah, that's true.
Get ready. I hope you own lots of property already.
I already own, thankfully, because I wouldn't be able to do it now.
My friend's like,
crazy.
our house just went up by like $400,000 in the past 2 years. I was like, what?
I know. We're like, should
Maybe
we sell
even
our
more than
house?
that. Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah, it's
But, like, I don't know
crazy,
where
the
I'd
real
move.
estate.
Yeah, that's what I go. Why would you sell it now? You can't afford to buy another one.
I know, exactly. It's not a bad place to be in, not a bad position to be in. So, what are you doing?
Hey, it went up.
You're funny.
Yeah, it went on.
He's got stats rolling on that screen. Like, you should have been a secretary. Shane.
Secretary. He's like the man of all men. Like he does everything.
I love it.
It's great.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. This is directly Houston.
Oh, Houston.
Really?
Median income.
Yeah,
Oh.
there were so many different variables that you could change to. I just went to Houston.
Don't get me in trouble now.
We're just saying out
Hey,
loud. I
I'm
mean,
just kidding.
No, do
It's a joke.
how many people right now do we need in the audiology world that are going to school and trying to make their decision between speech pathology and audiology? Right. This is the hinge.
I
You
still think
guys-
audiology makes more than speech pathology. And
think so, too.
speech pathology is a master's level degree. Audiology is a doctorate level degree,
Yeah.
which doesn't necessarily matter for the pay because that's just another year of school loans, actually. But
We had more
At a
fun.
point.
It's the wildest ride in the theme park.
Wildest ride in the
Hello.
theme park.
Yes.
But there are the overachievers. Now we know that we're in the midst of another overachiever that kept her C-section, right? And
she
then
didn't do a
Selena
C-section.
was as well. Yeah,
you
she
guys
didn't do the
Cs?
C-section.
Oh no, I dropped those.
Oh
Yes,
no, never mind, never mind.
C-section.
So Selena's the only
So the
overachiever that
C's
we've
are the,
met.
what is it, clinic?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I got rid of those a while back.
Stick it to you, Asha. I'm just kidding. Cut that out.
no
Cut it.
Nah.
Edit. That's gonna go in the
Dip
cutting room
that
floor
out.
right there.
That'll be your short clip. Stick it to you, Asha.
That's gonna be all that he leaves in.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about your schools, but UT
I
Austin.
just kept it for students.
UT Austin was like very heavily speech oriented, speech SLP.
UNT was really big with they were like even Steven.
It's coming. Yeah.
That's part of the reason why I was like really forging forward.
That's why when I went to go visit Selena at your school,
Yeah.
your graduate school, Lamar, I was really impressed at the setup. It was very oriented towards audiologists. Y'all each had your own like room, and
Yes.
I was like, I mean, don't get me wrong, our underground bunker floor at the University of Texas in Austin still had a lot of audiology stuff. You don't have to come up for air once in a while. That's why I have lots of windows in my office because I'm traumatized. But still, it was the speech pathologist had it way better.
Yeah.
We seem a little
Audiology
bitter. I
was in
think
the
we've talked
base-
about it in every episode.
We were in the basement of the music building at LSU.
Oh, you in a basement
Why do they
too?
do that? Why do they do that?
They have
Quiet.
since moved into
Nobody
like
puts
a brand
audiologists
new...
in a basement.
Nobody.
Sound quality when you're
Better
surrounded
not
by
do
bricks.
Yeah, there you go.
Pull your
Better sound.
audiologist out of the basement.
Yeah.
Unchain
I
them.
know. They moved. They moved out of the basement of the music building after I left.
Quiet. It's for the quiet, you know.
Yeah.
They're trying to keep it quiet,
Yeah.
insulated.
Who was the politician, Ellie, that you were telling me that was writing policy that she's a speech pathologist who is actually not helping
Oh.
you guys?
Elizabeth Warren.
Oh, Elizabeth.
She's not helping us?
No.
Okay.
No.
Well, yeah.
I'm not voting for her.
Yeah, I think the whole
She ran
Bose
for
thing.
president.
I know that. That's what I'm not
She
voting
ran for president. Yeah.
But my outlook, which is different, is that there's a need for all levels and types of hearing protection. Just like some people are going to be able to afford and want to drive Ferraris, and then
You talking about hearing
other-
protection or hearing amplification?
hearing amplification. Sorry,
Yeah.
but some people are not, right?
Yeah.
And so when I walk in and we're at a shooting club and I have my electronic
Your
monitors, and
$2,000.
I have the inner ears that I can hear like a woodpecker pecking wood in Austin.
Yeah, I got him some digital ones. He's like, these are amazing.
You got inner monitors?
Yeah,
Not ear monitors,
feel like
just the digital hunters.
you feel like you're cheating because people are talking really loud because they just have hearing protection in. I'm like, shh, I can hear everything you're saying.
I can
Stop
hear what you're
talking
thinking.
so loud.
Yeah. And I would like to interject this one. You could hear so good. You could hear a rat TT on cotton.
That's one of
I
our
got that one from the patient. Yeah, I got that from
I've
the
heard
patient
the patient
too.
said that must be a thing.
It is
A rat TT on
He didn't say TT.
He said the other.
Yeah, she PG-13 there. real quick.
I did.
That's a mama
You know,
right there. That's a mama right there. To a 1-year-old baby boy.
Yes, today's Benjamin's birthday.
Yes.
Benjamin.
Future doctors of America.
Yes.
Exactly.
Could be a little genius.
Yes.
But yeah, with over-the-counter hearing aids coming into effect, that's like a real topic, right?
Yes.
And yeah, I mean, I don't know if it got spearheaded by some politicians that, you know, my thing is with any politician, I'm not going to get political, but I'm just like not into any of them because I feel like no matter what, they probably have some kind of their own best interest or, you know, it's just like you're going to call it the Hearing Healthcare Act, but then
It's not.
you're going to take the doctors out of it so that people can get affordable care, but remove everybody. Like, I can't tell you guys what we do for our patients. Like, I can't even imagine being removed from the process. Like, and how.
And you spend more time, I think, with your patients than
Yes.
than most practices.
yeah,
Which
that
I mean,
know.
I never get happy when I hear that. I know we take our time, and I know, like, I'm like, yeah, we take, you know, we do so much here.
You put so much time in, and I think that's a real positive.
Thank you.
But
But even then, they still have like we still have to help. Like, where there's still so much like. I mean, I give 2-hour appointments and all this aftercare and a
so
folder
much.
with
Yes,
easy to
yes.
read notes and they still come here and the front office. Ladies help them further, and then we see them again. Things like that. I can't imagine like this whole over-the-counter thing is. It's like sure, maybe that's going to work for some people, and if it means that they're going to do something about their hearing in the age of 40 versus waiting till 60, but at some point, like I hope that if it's like I guess readers, right? But still with hearing, it's just I can't.
But Dr. Elly, wouldn't you say this though? I mean, it's getting people in the door. It might delay it maybe a year or two, but they're still coming in because just today, someone came in and they were saying, I tried these over-the-counter devices. They just didn't work. They
and
didn't
another one from a big.
Now I'm here.
Let's be real, and we get a lot of people from the warehouse.
The warehouse,
the discount warehouse that shall not be named, where you can buy bulk toilet paper and feminine products right next to your hearing health care.
Yes.
I'm sorry, I am not bitter. But
you will never
can get allergy meds
find a
too.
Widex product in a big box store.
Thank you.
I can tell
Amen
you
to that.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you. Cheers to that one.
Said box store, we have a membership and we buy meat there every week.
too.
No,
Me too.
I have a membership only because my parents like to go there. I step into there maybe once a year, and even then, now I'm not going to probably go because we were just there the other day and they didn't have my jug of skin lotion.
Oil of
Olay.
Olay.
I was like running like a chicken with my head cut off. I was like, where is the oil of Olay? And he's like, oil of Olay? Like,
She's too young for that.
Dogs, oil of Olay? I was like, whatever. I still use it, and clearly it works somehow well on me.
I mean, your skin
is great.
I mean, it's not good skin. It's just, it's not like great skin. It's just not wrinkly.
You have zero.
I mean, there's like
I feel like
blemishes on it.
Something's working over there. Whatever.
Olive Olay. Call me. But
Unpaid sponsorship.
So,
I got a
unpaid
confession.
sponsorship.
I was there on Sunday buying a lot of products.
I don't go there
like
otherwise.
pre-cooked bacon.
Right.
We call that suitcase bacon when you go on a business
place
trip.
to get a medical device, but you'll never find Widex there.
Yeah.
But to your
We
question
get a lot of
about-
people complain about it. But anyway, continue.
just to your point about over the counter, I mean, our industry is certainly in flux right now. There's a lot of change happening, but I kind of agree with you, Dr. Wiggins, that I think it brings people to the table maybe sooner than they would have come otherwise. So trying not to be afraid of it, but thinking, okay, maybe it's just going to bring more patients to my office sooner than they would otherwise, because we know patients take at least 7 years before, from the time they know they have a hearing loss to when they decide to do something about it. So maybe it'll bridge
My
the
thing
gap.
is
I don't
companies
know.
like Widex and all the other big whatever number 6, 7 manufacturers. You guys have been doing this since World War II-ish, like shortly thereafter. Like, over 50 years, 60 years, 70 years. And then here comes Bose, and now Apple's updating their app. I can see where this is headed.
Going.
You know, and granted, yes, Bose has great $300 headphones, but are we really going to compare this to the technology that goes behind a hearing aid? I'm sure it's okay, but there's just
no
apples and
comparison.
oranges,
Yes.
right?
There's no comparison.
That's just what I tell patients.
So
too,
it's like
when they say
everybody
that.
wants their, I guess, hand in the cookie jar or whatever.
Yeah.
But
Everybody's trying to
you
get
know,
in there too.
I don't know.
I
What
think
do
it's
you
the
say
way
about that?
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm not afraid of it especially for practices like you because you practice best practices.
Yes, absolutely.
You spend so much time with your patients, both of you. I mean, you're doing it the right way. And so I think maybe there's a market for patients that don't need all of those services right in the beginning, but I think eventually they are going to come, they're going to find you because we know that they're going to need that hand holding. And so it just, bide your time if you want to waste that money on that product. And, I think for a lot of patients it won't work as well, and then they'll end up coming to you anyway.
Yeah.
So
As I told the babies.
Things like what we're doing now, I think
babies.
will help bring people to understand the difference in a Ferrari and a Chevy, right, when it comes to hearing aids. Because I didn't know until I met Elly, right? It's just one of them things. Like, if I ever needed hearing aid, I didn't even know what tinnitus was. But the more we talk about it and the more we make it like everyday things, as we talk about the major senses that you have, really two would be the toughest to lose, right? If you just one day lost your hearing.
Well, apparently
or
you want to talk about that guy that you just told me about today?
Oh,
Tank. Sorry.
The singer. He's an R&B singer.
Okay.
Fine body. No offense to my husband. But
I love Crystal.
So
She just has no shame.
He just suffered a sudden hearing loss,
And he's
documenting it
on
through his
Instagram.
Instagram. Yeah,
And that's the thing. I want on every
Yes.
episode us talking one public service announcement about sudden sensorineural hearing loss. Apparently, this is what Tank is going through suddenly.
Yes, sudden loss of hearing in his right ear.
Oh, well, there's
See, what did I say about that body?
I shall not.
He looks like Michael B. Jordan. The guy's handsome. The guy's handsome.
I love you.
Beautiful's beautiful.
I can't say anything.
Beautiful's beautiful.
You don't even want to say anything.
I will. Sorry. It's a nice body. Okay. However, beyond his body, and his
Sorry, Roderick.
His torso. His ears. He had a sudden hearing loss, and the reason why I know about this honestly is because my husband actually told me about it, and he said, not picking on him, but he says, "Hey, babe, Tank just suffered a." And I said, "What?" And he said, I said, "What is that?" He said, the thing when it happens real fast, the sudden. I said, the sensorineural hearing loss, and you still don't know how to say that? Okay, and so that's who drove me to his webpage, to his Instagram to actually look at that.
okay.
What is that?
I don't know what's happening there.
Yeah, I don't know what's happening there. Turn that. I'm not good with the bones.
If you read the caption, he's saying the journey's back. It's a tough one, but it must be done. Thank you, Dr. Chris and C, for taking me through this process. So apparently that's an ENT that's doing something, craniofacial release. Craniofacial pressure release.
Some steroids.
Because he did mention, the first thing that he mentioned was that he did see an ENT and he was put on medication, and he was also given went through the MRI process.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, just that progression.
I cannot stress this enough. Whoever's listening, just remember this.
The emergency room.
If it ever happens to you or anybody the key about a sudden hearing loss is how quick you deal with it.
Yeah.
And if you don't know, just call your ear, nose, and throat doctor. Or if it's on a Saturday, just go to the ER.
Yeah.
Find one of us on Instagram and DM us, and we'll tell you what to do.
Yeah, for sure.
I literally have had somebody do that.
Oh, really?
I've had somebody go, I can't hear, and I and I'm like,
Really?
go to the ER right
Right
now.
now.
And sure enough, that's what they had.
Sure enough.
In and out.
Not too far.
Even the ER physician called me like, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And I was like, just give them a high dose of steroids if they don't have diabetes, and taper it, blah blah blah. And because it was like in a
It's
Friday
your best
afternoon.
chance.
Friday afternoon.
wow.
This person wasn't going to get anywhere for at least
until Monday.
Yeah. So I was like,
time is of the essence.
Yeah.
It's a time.
I just can't say this enough.
Yeah,
When I worked in the
absolutely.
ENT office, I can't tell you how many patients we saw a day that every day.
Yeah.
Every day, like a dozen a day.
And
Just-
be compliant.
It was so
and
bad.
take the meds.
Yes.
Because I had 2 patients lose their hearing, male, female. One was the right ear, one was the left ear, and the physician gave them the same regimen, take the steroids, heavy dosage, very aggressive movement, and, no offense to guys, but usually the guy is the one that would be non-compliant out of the male and female. The guy took the prednisone.
Wait, they knew each other?
No. This is just 2
okay.
patients, same day, same issue.
Oh, wow.
And the gentleman, I saw him for his follow-up. He'd done everything the doctor told him to do, and his hearing came back. The lady, she just said, I didn't want to take it, the side effects.
Yeah,
and
like I might gain a pound.
to take it. I might gain weight, and it might make me edgy. And her hearing did not come back. And it was, it was, I said, so now you have this hearing loss that's permanent. And she was like, I just didn't want the side effects. So, listen to your doctor, especially if he's doing this regimen that Dr. Elly just mentioned, because they're trying to save your ear. Yeah.
It's such a big deal.
It is a very
It's happened
big
to
deal.
it happened to my own dad. It happened to my one of my best friends. It happened to
A
my
buddy of
friend's
mine
dad.
too.
It happened to so many people I personally know. And then one of my friend's brothers, he was on vacation in Spain, and I guess because I must have told her about it, she must have told her brother.
Yeah.
And he called her freaking out that he went deaf in one ear. And then I was like, okay, go to the ER. It might just be wax, so it might be expensive ER, or if not, anyway. But it was just wax.
Yeah.
So let's talk about our wine real quick. So we're trying this. Today's bottle is Volker. I know I picked this because I know you're a wine snob. I thought I was bad. She's a wine.
She's in good company. That's
Definitely
for sure.
a wine connoisseur. Volker. I was at a liquor store and I was buying a bottle of Caravan.
Okay.
And when he saw me grab the Caravan, and I know it's the second press of the Dariush, he knew that's what I liked. And he goes, well, if you like that, then this is the same price point, which is around the $50 price point, $55.
Yeah.
It's called Volker. I don't even know how you say that. Eisele?
I can say it because I know French.
Oh, yeah, Decoy.
Yes, Decoy. Volker.
Parlez-vous français?
Parlez-vous français?
Okay, so it's a 2014 Napa Cab.
Okay. We'll write it in the descriptions. But yeah, Volker, and then I don't know how you said the second word. Eisele, Family Estate, 2014 Napa Valley Cab. And it's delicious.
And
as Dr. Layfield said, very sedimenty.
Yes.
I don't know. At first I thought we had a bad bottle. I was like, what's going on here? But it's delicious.
It's not
You like
vulgar
it?
at all.
Yeah, I love it. It's
I
actually,
mean-
and it drinks a lot like the Dariush, actually.
Oh, yeah,
So,
yeah. That's why he said that. He goes, if you like Dariush, then you're going to like,
It's
not Dariush, the UFC fighter, but.
Dariush was my gateway wine.
What? Oh, excuse me.
So
Mine was like Boone's.
No. So
Gateway wine was Dariush.
when
Well, that's like a $100 bottle.
No.
Yeah,
When
high
Monica
class
and I-
gateway, huh?
When Monica and I first met, we were drinking barefoot and yellowtail. And then then we gradually moved up a little bit. But I was like, I only like white wine, whatever.
I like white Zinfandel.
I only like white. Yeah, just give me a Sauv Blanc. And so then one day we were at
She
our
loves
friends.
Sauvignon Blanc.
I do too, but that's all I would drink. And then one day we were at our friends who are, also total wine snobs, and the guy opened up a bottle of Dariush, and he was like, "Just try this." And I was like, "Okay, fine, I'll try it." And then I never looked back. I was like,
So
"Oh my God."
good. Don't you part of the Dariush Wine Club?
Yeah, we are.
You get
yeah.
we'll have to have that.
We have a true expert in our midst.
I'm not an expert.
Do you 1 to 10 this? Can you give us some guidelines
go ahead.
on grading
Go
wine?
ahead.
How do you grade wine? Would you 1 to 10 it?
I give it a yum.
Wine,
Yes, I'd give
it's
it
all
a
about
yum,
what you
too.
like. It doesn't have to be expensive. It just is what you like.
Yeah.
But Dariush certainly makes great wine. But this is really good. I would
This is delicious.
totally buy this.
What would you pair that with?
Oh,
Pull them culinary arts out.
I don't.
Part of the Supper Club app coming soon.
That's our next conversation.
Yes, okay.
To be-
During dinner.
Yeah, during dinner.
Well,
talk
thank
about
you
that.
for coming today,
Yes,
Dr.
for having
Layfield.
me.
Thank you
The
for having me.
Casey.
It's
It
been
was
so great talking to you guys.
Fancy
Fancy
seeing you here.